Hey everyone, so I am back with another video, and thanks to Bernica, her page is Bernica Tyndale here on YouTube. She hit me up and tagged me for a tag video, and we are going to discuss the 10 books I've last read. So I have only included the last 10 books I have finished from cover to cover. Most of you are readers, so you know how it is. We might have 4 to 5 books, open with bookmarks in them, and we just haven't finished them for one reason or another. So I didn't include those in there, in here, I should say. I am just including books that I finished. So I just went back on my read shelf on Goodreads and tried to go back as far as like 10 books. And I think that took me back to a couple of books I've read in March. So yeah, I'm going to just try and run through these as quickly as possible. And a couple of them I don't have with me because they were on audiobook. So book number 1, we have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I listened to this on audio. I gave it 4 stars. She is the narrator, and part of the beauty of listening to her books on audio is that her voice is just so pleasant to listen to. Even she narrates Pride by E.B. Savoy, and it was just so beautifully, she just brought the characters alive with her voice, I think. This was like another, specifically like young adult book, and I think it does ring more for teens. It just felt more teenager to me. I don't know, I can't explain it. But as far as like the main character being a teen mom, trying to finish up high school, also having this love for cooking and, getting opportunities while raising her 2-year-old daughter, and, just having to deal with everyday life as a teen parent, I thought it was really good. And you can tell that, even though she had adult responsibilities, she was still a teenager, and I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed that this book was not filled with tons of drama. Sometimes YA novels are just filled with kids running around the city, and something extravagant happens, and to get kids to read it. But I think teens would read this, and I think there are definitely teens out there, especially teen moms and former teen moms, who kind of need to see themselves in books like this. And it's more of a positive perspective of their lives are not over, and that it's doable, and that, you can get help and all these other things. So I thought it was a great book. Go ahead and listen to it. I'm going to tell y'all to listen to it. You can read it, the book, but I would suggest getting it on audio if you're interested. All right. So number 2, I have my notes right here. That's why I'm looking in my lap. I have Can't Escape Love by Alyssa Cole. I also gave this 4 stars. This is a novella in her Reluctant Royal series. The main character, or the heroine in this case, since it's a romance novel, is Regina, who is the twin sister of Portia, who is also has a book. Portia's book is Duke by Default, and that's a full novel. This was just too short. I really like Regina, and I also like that we focus on a character with, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to blind you guys. I have my ring light on, and this is reflecting the light. I like that she's wheelchair bound, and it reminds us that people with disabilities still have sexual desires, and they want romance. Too many times we think that people get injured, or they have certain disabilities, and that all of their emotions and feelings, and especially sexuality, just goes out the window with whatever disability or injury they may have, and that isn't true. So I really enjoyed this. She has such a great personality, Regina, that is, very smart. There's such cute moments in this book. And for it to be less than 150 pages, Alyssa Cole does well at covering all her bases in such a short book. All right, so number 3, I don't have too much to say because I have kind of so much was going on in this book. I've kind of forgotten every little detail. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson. I did give this 4 stars. I enjoyed it on audiobook. And part of the reason I enjoyed it so much is because there are like 3 main characters in this book, and all of them have a different voice actor or actress, and it helps us differentiate each perspective that is given in this book. So there's like Quadir, I think the sister's name is Stephanie, and I think his name is Jarrell. But anyways, I could differentiate who was talking because there was a different person talking each time, and it just helped me keep track of the story way better. For example, I tried to listen to The Children of Blood and Bone on audio, and it was a major fail for me because even though the voice actress was great, the book changes perspective based on each chapter, and it was the same voice actress for everyone. I just couldn't keep up. But this way I was like be able to keep up with the story and who was talking audibly. And more publishers need to, I think, do that when it comes to multi-perspective novels. I gave it 4 stars. It was like, Tiffany Jackson to me is like the queen of YA mystery. I know it's not I know they probably don't consider her mystery, but I feel like all her books have something to do with like a major kind of like whodunit or like what has actually happened. There's always some big reveal. There's always some major plot twist. And this one was good too. I don't think I was like I know I wasn't as traumatized with this big plot twist as I was in Monday's Not Coming. But I was still, greatly surprised, and it was something that I did not guess. So I would also suggest picking this book up too if you already read Tiffany D. Jackson, or if you want to try her. I think you can't go wrong with that book either. All right, so let's move on to book number 4 that I have. Bluebird by Attica Locke. I finally read this by making it my book club's pick, I think, for May. I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. Her character in this one, I like him. What's his name? Darren Matthews. This is the first book in the Highway 59 series, so I will talk about her second book soon. There is a black man and a white woman murdered in this small Texas town, and he has to kind of hurry up and solve it because, racial tensions are boiling over. I enjoyed this book as a mystery. I really like Attica Locke, and I must say that the big reveal for this one, to me, the theories around who could have killed them and why were much more interesting to me than when we get to see what actually happened. But because Darren in himself, and there's so much detail, and every character in these books kind of have their own story that she includes, it's still enjoyable, even though I felt like the big reveal was just a little there wasn't as much of a spark there for me, but I enjoyed it. My book club enjoyed it. And everyone's excited for her second book that comes out in September. All right. And so the 5th book I read is The Pisces by Melissa Broder. Yes, Melissa Broder. I'm not going to speak on this one too much because you can watch my video on the Pisces and Queenie on my channel. I gave it 4 stars. It's a nice, weird but funny light read about a woman going through a breakup, and she ends up falling for a merman, and that's all I'm going to say here. All right, so number 6, I read The Boss by Aya De Leon. This is the second book in her Justice Hustler series. All of them kind of read like standalones, but I'm trying to read them in order. So she has 4 of them out, so 2 down, 2 more to go. This one focuses on Taisha. She's running a clinic that focuses on helping sex workers, and the catch is they also usually rob crooked wealthy men, and it's also romantic suspense. So we're introduced to her and Thug Wolfer, which is the hero in the sense of romance, that's her love interest. He is a rapper who has who's trying to win her back. She's got a lot of family drama in here. I gave this one 3 stars, just because I do like this, and I like Aya De Leon, and I like what she's trying to do in this book. But to be completely honest, I think I didn't want Taisha and Thug Wolfer to still be together. I'm just being completely honest. I didn't really fall for him. I appreciate certain things he did because, you know, she got him more hip to feminism. She told him like certain things that he said and do as a rapper is disrespectful. There's also like a R. Kelly figure in this book that they get into because a lot of this parts of this takes place in Chicago. And Aya De Leon does like a good job of kind of recreating like the damage that has done to like the community in Chicago. So yeah, so I did enjoy it, but I just didn't like Thug Warfare that much. Yeah, so the 7th book I read was the 2nd book in the Highway 59 trilogy, which is Heaven My Home by Attica Locke. So this book, I'm not going to say too much because it does come out in September, and I definitely don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I gave this bad boy 5 stars. And do yourself a favor when it comes out, listen to this on audio. The actor, his name I think is J.D. Vance, not the guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy, not him. Some other guy with the same name. He is Darren Matthews, okay? And the last hour of this book, I was like at my desk at work like, oh my God, especially like the last 30 minutes. I was just like holding my breath to be, you know, like it's engrossing. Everybody, all the characters get, you know, they're just due. In my opinion, sometimes people introduce characters and it's like, what is this character for? No, everybody has a reason they show up in this book when they do. And whew, I cannot wait until the 3rd book. That's like one of the sad parts about like being able to get some of these things early is because now I gotta wait even longer until the next installment. Somehow too, they gave us this audiobook for free super early. Like usually the book, when the audiobooks we are allowed to choose from come out, they usually are coming out the month that they are available to us early. So the fact that I was able to access this in June and it doesn't come out until September is special. I'm probably going to give this copy to my stepmom because she really enjoyed Bluebird. So yes. Oh, and this cover, isn't it beautiful? Like the purples, the scenery, the name is beautiful. So yes, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm trying to think if I gave anything else this year so far 5 stars. I think I did. I think I gave Damon Young 5 stars. But as far as like a novel, like being mystery, like Attica Locke, she is a storyteller, y'all. Like she can write, but she knows how to tell a good story. And Heaven My Home is a good story. So pick that up when it comes out. All right, number 8. More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. Many of you might know her. She was like the youngest editor-in-chief over at Teen Vogue. She's known for getting Teen Vogue woke. So like once they started talking about like police brutality and stuff, she's the one who made those changes. She is no longer at Teen Vogue now, and she talks about why in this book. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and I was also lucky enough to like meet her at one of her events for when she came to Politics and Prose. And I thought I would get like a bunch of advice, and I was like, okay, so she's gonna tell me like how I can be as great as her, like how she became this like high-powered editor-in-chief at 30 years old, and that's not what this was about. It was like a very true memoir. But I'm also grateful that she didn't give an advice book, and she said she purposely didn't write advice because like everybody has to take their own path. But I also don't think her book would have been as good or as interesting if it was just advice. And just the truth of the matter is like there is no real game plan to success for everybody. Like, everybody cannot take the same road to success. And even when she became editor-in-chief and certain opportunities she got, she was kind of like in the right place, the right time. Even though she had constantly been working hard and had been a straight A student, like, there's certain things that happened to her, on the way there that, made it a bumpy ride. So I really respect that, and it makes me see her as more human. Since she is somebody I do look up to, even though she's only a couple years older than me. Like, it humanizes her in a way that an advice book wouldn't have. So yeah, that is More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. Number 9, so Call Numbers by Syntell Smith. This is independently published by the author. He was nice enough to send me this copy for review. You can see my review linked on my Instagram. I gave this book 3 stars. It is very large, and he gave it to me in good condition. I foolishly did not screw the top on my water bottle tight enough the day I was carrying this in my bag. So he gave this to me, or sent this to me, in like very good condition. So this is a story about a bunch of librarians in the 1990s at a New York public library, and every single character has like a plot line. They all have some type of secret. And the main character is a 19-year-old boy named Robin. I forgot his last name, but the book centers around him. But each character, like I said, I think that's really important, that each character has a reason for being in the story. And I think he did well with that. However, there are just so many plot lines in this book that it became a little bit overwhelming. But also, I wasn't a big fan of his main character. So understanding certain other plot lines that were happening with the other characters is what I think keeps the story going. So he does have a second book coming out in September. I'm not going to keep going on this one because I have a written review on Instagram. So if you want to know more about this book, go check out my Instagram review. And yeah. So last but not least is a book I recently finished probably a couple days ago. It comes out, I'm filming this on a Monday, so it comes out tomorrow on July 9th, and it's called The Love, Prison, Made, and Unmade by Ebony Roberts. I listened to this on the audio. She fell in love with Shaka Senghor the last 4 years of his prison sentence. Shaka Senghor, if you don't know him, he has the book out called Righting My Wrongs. It's his memoir about being locked up for 19 years and kind of like what happened to him before, during, and I'm not sure how far after prison, but definitely before and during his 19-year prison sentence. So she wrote a memoir about them falling in love and actually how they fell out of love, and I haven't read that story, and of course they're comparing it to like An American Marriage meets Just Mercy, which, yes, I get it, but her and Celestial are not the same if you read that. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It is not read by the author, but the narrator was still good. It was a very quick read, or quick listen, I should say. And it's just it's a memoir to show how prison systems also affects the people involved with the person who is incarcerated. Of course, many people think like the hard part about being in a relationship with a person who's been incarcerated is being with them while they are in prison. But there were a lot of other obstacles that they had to face when Shaka came home. And we don't really talk about that. And I think because it is specifically her perspective, that people are able to focus in more on what she has to say versus like what happened with An American Marriage with number one, that's fiction. But when it came to Roy, people focused more in on Roy because he was falsely accused. So we don't have this necessary, like this type of, storyline when it comes to Shaka Senghor, because unfortunately he did murder this man and he did his time for it. But it just shows the long-term effect of prison not only being on the person who's incarcerated, but the people trying to like help them get their lives back together after prison. So yeah, I suggest you pick that one up too. The audio isn't as important, but I think her story is important. So whichever way you pick it up, I think it will be just impactful. So those are the 10 books I've read. I'm sorry, this video is like 20 minutes long, but let me know what you think in the comments. If you made it through this whole video, hopefully you did. Let me know what you think. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.